Hi, Mark Reedy here. In this video I want to show you the 90-day inspections tab, and I'm going to show you how to change the number of days from 90 to something else. Also, how to edit or add the inspection items to the inspection items checklist. And I'm going to show you how to create a new inspection and how to print a blank inspection so that you can pass that off to a mechanic or a technician. And then how to open and view an existing inspection, and how to print the full year of inspections, aka like a CHP BIT inspection form. I don't know if you've seen those or not, but so it's basically it shows you a whole year of inspections all at once. So if you're doing DOT yearly, that might not be that important to you. It'll just show you the once a year, so you'll see that. Also, how to generate other inspection reports, related reports, and finally, how to view reminders for upcoming inspections. So, let me go ahead and get started here and show you. And first off, we're going to talk about how to change the number of days from 90 to something else. So let's go up here to File, Setup, and then where it says here, change global inspection interval. Click on that button there, and then you can see it says 90. So if I change this to 360, for example, and then click close, and then close again, you'll see here that the tab now says 360-day inspection, and over on the equipment summary tab it also says 360-day inspection dates, and everything is relates back to 360 days, as well as the reminders. So that's how you change the inspection interval. So let me go back to that. I'm going to change that back to 90, which is the default from us. And next up, we're going to talk about how to edit or add to inspection items checklist. So the inspection items checklist, if we open up the inspections form, I'm going to click here to add inspection. And when that pops up, you'll see here that on this particular equipment type, there is no inspections created by the user of this particular database. So let me go ahead and go back to show you this. And so we're going to populate this. I'm going to click on File, Setup, and I'm going to say Change Global Inspection Items List. So I'm going to click on that. And from us, it's populated. We pre-populate the program with truck, tractor, and with trailer. So we have a list of items for those two equipment types, and you can copy from those types to other equipment types if you want to. Now you can see here this particular user has quite a few equipment types in their system, and we recommend trying to keep the equipment types to a minimum if possible. More broad categories if you can, because when you create multiple equipment types like this, what it does is it has to generate a lot more pre-populated data for these inspections. So I'm going to go over to that equipment type which we had there for that equipment. It was called the heavy vehicle tax. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to populate this list with the truck tractor list. So I'm going to choose here copy items from other equipment type, and it just lets me know about the copy items from a list from another equipment type to the heavy vehicle tax. The list from the other equipment type will be added to the current list for a vehicle tax. It will not replace the current items, and ask me if I want to continue. So I'm going to say yes there, and then I'm going to use truck tractor as my template to pull all this information into here. So I'm going to click OK. And you can see here it's pulled that entire list, and it kept the first item in here. When you create a new equipment type, it'll populate the items list here with just this one record that tells you where to go to set up this the list for that particular equipment type, if it's needed. Not all equipment types obviously need an inspection list like this, but I'm going to delete this first one here from the list, and I can delete that by clicking on the little box off to the left to highlight that, and then I'm going to press the delete key, and that will pop up another little message that says you're about to delete one record. like that. And so I'm going to say yes to that. And now we've got our list here that's cleaned up and exactly as we want it. Now if we needed to make changes to this or add some other items, we could just start adding other items at the bottom. So, and then you could add more and more and more. And you can also edit each of these items if you want to just change something that's already in the list. Once you've completed this, and you've done it for each equipment type that you want to create an inspection items list for. So you'd want to go through each equipment type and make sure that it's updated the way you want it. If you don't need a list, don't worry about it for that equipment type. But if you do want to have an inspections list for that equipment type, then you should go ahead and make those up. And then, and this is also a good thing to do before you've added all your equipment, because what you need to do is once you've updated all your equipment types with the inspection items list, you'll need to click on update equipment, and this will actually pre-populate one for each month of the year for the number of years that are set up in the system. So if I click update here, what's going to happen is it's going to count through each piece of equipment, look at that piece of equipment and make sure that's got the proper updated equipment item list for the equipment type that is chosen for that piece of equipment. And so if you have a large fleet, this may take a while. It can take anywhere from 5 minutes up to a few hours, maybe even overnight. I mean, I've got some customers that have fleets that are up in 1800 range, even a 3600 unit fleet, and that can take quite a few hours. So, but for smaller fleets, it shouldn't take too long, and we really recommend not putting in more than 1,000 pieces of equipment into TATEMS anyways. So if I click update, what's going to happen is I'm going to get this warning message, and it tells you how long it takes for each piece of equipment to update in the database, from 3 to 25 seconds per piece of equipment. And I'm going to click yes to that, and you'll see here it's going to count. On this particular fleet, it's 1 through 70, and now it's up to number 2, and I'm going to go ahead and pause this and let this finish, and when it's completed I'll come back to you. Oh, one more thing before I leave here. If I were to click on anything in the screen here, we may get a not responding message up at the top. When you get something like that, when you're running this update, you just simply have to wait for it. Even though it says not responding, you just have to wait for it to complete the process. And if you do have to kill the program, you need to come back to it and rerun the update. If you do do a task manager and kill TATEMS for some reason. All right, so let me go ahead and pause this for a second and let this finish. Okay, and when it's done, you'll see this update's complete message. So I'm going to click OK there, and then I'm going to close this. When I close it, it lets me know that if I've made any changes that I need, and I did not click on the update equipment, then I need to run the update, the changes to update to so the changes will show up in the program. So it asks me if I want to do this now. I'm going to say no because I already did that. So I'm going to say no there. I'll let that close. Go over to close that, and let's go back to this piece of equipment here. And we'll go to add inspection, and we'll see that it's now populated with those inspection items that we grabbed, including the extra item here that I put down at the bottom. So we've looked at how to add inspection items to the items checklist, and then we'll show you how to create a new inspection now. So we've clicked on add inspection down here, and so we see here that we have the checklist, and you can see here that on the selectors we have January and then 2014 selected. So if you wanted to do a different month, like say if I wanted to go back a month to December 2013, I would choose that month and year. And then here on the date inspection, just make sure that the date inspection, the date of inspection falls within the same month and year as the date inspected. So this would have to be 12. We have to fall in that range there for it to be accepted by the program. And then just add the inspector's name and put in an odometer reading at the time of the inspection. We'll just look at this, and 189, just say 900. And now down here on the inspection items, it asks me, well, first of all, it's asking me if I want to update the odometer reading for the equipment itself. And I'm going to say yes to this. And you can turn off that reminder message underneath Tools and Preferences. You can have it so that it always reminds you, and then also so that it never reminds you, but it will automatically update those inspection items, or the odometer items from other tabs. Okay, and so our inspections list here, you can just choose OK or defective. If it's marked as defective, it will copy the item over to the scheduled repairs section. I'm going to click OK. It just lets me know. I'm going to uncheck that. It's going to remove it from the repairs section. So I want to remove that. And you can also just mark everything is OK if you want to. Just click on the mark all is OK, and every one of these items will be checked. And I'm going to uncheck this. Now I can print out this blank inspection report by clicking this Print This Heavy Vehicle Tax button down here. The print button will always change for the equipment type that's selected, and then at the top of the printout, it'll print out the name of the equipment type as well. And so I could click on to print that. Now you can't actually print this until you actually put a date inspected in there. You can go back and change it later. So you want to put a date inspected in there in order to be able to print it out. So if I click on print, this will just go straight to the printer. And you can see that popped up, and that's going to go straight over to the printer. So if I click mark all is OK here and then click close, you can see here that it's listed as a completed inspection. And I showed you how to print a blank inspection and then how to open an existing inspection. Basically, you just double click on an item in the list here. It'll bring up that existing inspection. The last inspection button will bring up the last inspection completed. Say you're viewing something else. Say if I wanted to, let me close this, click Add Inspection. Now I've got the blank inspection ready to go for January 2014. If I click Last Inspection, that's going to bring me back to the last inspection completed. If I want to just create an inspection for this month, say I went back to went to March 2008, for example, and so now I can create an inspection for March 2008. But if I want to come back to the current month real quickly, I can just click on this month, and that'll bring me back to January 2014. Okay, so to show you how to print the full year of inspections, aka the CHP BIT inspection, DOT type inspection, for a whole year's worth of inspections, I'm going to show you that. Click on Reports, and then Current Equipment Reports. That shows you the reports for the currently selected piece of equipment. And then we want to click on Equipment Maintenance Safety Report, and we're just going to preview that. And it's going to ask us which year to choose. So I'm going to choose 2013 because that was when we actually did that inspection here. And I'm going to click OK. And the preview pops up. You can see here for December, we've marked everything as OK. We have our mileage at the top. If it was an hours meter reading, that would show up here. Has your VIN number, license plate number, make, model, year, equipment number. And then on the next page, continuing the inspection items. And then down at the bottom, it's got a place for the person that did the inspection and the date of the inspection listed for each month of the year. So this is a signature not required on computer records. This is just in lieu of a signed form. If you're entering in the person's name, you're certifying that that person did the inspection. And then the down here at the bottom, it just shows you that when the last inspection was completed and the next one is due. So I'm going to click close on that, and then the next item on the list here is how to generate other inspection reports. So we click on Reports and then More Reports, and you can see here Here is the item, the equipment that requires a 90-day inspection. This will just give you a list of equipment that's checked that requires a 90-day inspection. And this is the same, this would be the same report by customer. Let me close this and go back over to equipment summary and show you. See where it says the checkbox 90-day inspection required? So if that's checked, then it's going to start showing up in the reminders list. It'll also show up on that report as well. So if I click on, let me just click on this piece of equipment to sort of save that, and click on reports, more reports, and then we'll just click on this. I'm not going to choose an equipment number from and to. I'm just going to click preview, and it shows us the one piece of equipment, basically just some basic information about the equipment that the 90-day inspection is required on. And inspection permits do these three items, or for the other part of the program called inspections and permits. But if we go down here and choose report type and choose inspections, this is the information regarding the 90-day / user-defined number of days inspections. So you can see here the periodic inspections due and past due, and we can put a date range in here to see everything due and past due. And it says here for the from, put something like a really old date like 1/1/2000 to make sure you're collecting everything that may be past due. And then the to section, you can put it through today's date. You could go 30 days in the future, 60 days in the future. I'm gonna go like 4 months into the future. So we'll say 04/15/2014, and we'll click preview on that, and it shows us our one piece of equipment that's due on 3/15. You can see it's bolded, showing that it is past due. And we're gonna close that. This would be the same report, but it's by customer. So if you are working with a customer's equipment, or within your own organization, if you've assigned a piece of equipment to a specific, say, division or something in your company or office, then you can call them a customer, and you can choose to see all the equipment for that particular customer. And then periodic inspections completed by customer, and then by just completed, period. And what we're going to do here is we can just I believe on this report we can just click preview. It'll show us everything. Oh, sorry, we need a completed date. So we're looking for a date range of, it does say required down here. So we're looking for a date range to see what inspections were completed in that particular time period. So I'm just going to say 11/1/2013 through 12/31/2013. And I could choose an equipment from and to, or if I just wanted to look at one particular piece of equipment, then I would just put that equipment number in on both sides here, the from and the to, and that would just show us that one piece of equipment. So I'm going to click preview there. It shows us the inspection completed, next due here. And then we have smoke inspections. That's a little bit different. The smoke inspections are on the inspections and permits tab, actually. So we won't deal with that right now, but that's some other information, other area where you can look at all the inspections completed for your whole fleet if you want to. And we'll go back over here to the list of what we're talking about, and we'll go on to the final one, how to view reminders for upcoming inspections. So I'm going to okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on forms, and then reminders pop up, and then we can see inspection reminders there are none, because we're here in January and this isn't due until March rather. And it says here edit how soon to be notified, so I can actually change this, and it's going to notify us 60 days before something's due. It's going to start showing up on the list. Now if I were to change that to say 85 days, then that particular inspection should show up on the list. So I'm going to change this to 85 days. So 85 days before something is due, it's going to start showing up on the reminders list. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close the pop-up, and then I'm going to reopen it, forms and reminders pop-up. And we can see that that shows up here as an item to be inspected. Now, if I were to go back over here behind the scenes and have a different piece of equipment selected. Now if I wanted to bring this particular piece of equipment up from the reminders list, I can just double click on it and it'll show me behind this reminders pop-up that piece of equipment and the last inspections. So I could actually add an inspection from here if I wanted to. Go ahead and do it, and then print it out, close that, and then move on to the next inspection in the list here. Hopefully that's been helpful for you, and thanks a lot for watching. Have a good one.